Lord Hastings, thank you so much for your time today. Just had a couple of questions for you, if I may, about ethical angel. Given your extensive experience across leadership, diversity, and community-based projects and causes, what is it about ethical angel that particularly resonated with you?
Well, ethical angel is meant to be bringing together the best of what can be achieved in the not-for-profit world and applying those principles of service delivery, engagement, community, significance of priority issues, how to affect the world for better, to the commercial world. And when you put those two together, it's not as though it hasn't been done before, but making it an embedded service, an embedded way of thinking is what ethical angel seeks to do. By being on the inside of an organization, a commercial company, driving it towards its public purposes, realizing that actually the transformation of the world that we live in is a combination of services that come from the charity sector, the public sector, and the private sector, all together with individuals who make the big transformational change.
That's great to hear. I guess the cynic, and I know you're not a fan of cynicism.
Not in the slightest.
But the cynic will say corporate leaders don't yet quite understand the purpose beyond profit for stakeholders. How could we better connect the two so that leaders of large commercial organizations understand that not only are they helping their own organizations, but they're helping society more broadly?
Well, we're grateful that in this country, in the United Kingdom, we've had business in the community for essentially 40 years. They've done a very, very good service of getting major corporations to address what their primary purposes are. The primary purpose of a corporation, as best understood by regulation as well as history, is not just to make products, but to make quality products and services that serve the public interest. Now, then turning that into codified behaviors from the way people are employed, the payment of, for example, a living wage, the dignity of ensuring that there is justice for people of different ethnic backgrounds, of different cultures, helping people to put the best of their skills and innovation to work, but also making sure that products are safe and that the supply lines are ethical. All of these are factors which companies have long understood and long sought to do, but it's not been necessarily a pinch point of absolute priority. We're willing to invest heavily to make sure that every single service we provide, every single product we provide is as strongly ethical as it can be for the customer. Now that's the next step, and that's what ethical angel can help companies to do. If this has been consistently, I hope, true in the public and charitable sector, it can become consistently true in the corporate sector.
I love your optimism. So perhaps finally I could ask the difficult question, which is, what do you think the biggest challenge is going to be to implement kind of institutional change effectively within the corporate commercial world, so that leaders not only pay lip service to SDG type goals, as they often do in shareholder reports that I've read, I'm sure you'd have read, but what's the biggest challenge in making sure that leaders care enough to radically transform the way they manage their businesses to affect that change? How is ethical angel going to be part of that solution if we get it right?
Well, as we often say, good things come from the top down and bad things come from the top down, and it's necessary to allow the shareholders' pursuit of the chief executive, the chief operating officer, the finance director, to be a pursuit which is about public interest priorities. And we're taking this conversation at a time of exceptional heat and discomfort, of the painful resonance of climate impacts that companies once denied,
yes,
but now understand and accept. Most of the companies I have associations with put climate risk as number one risk, when climate conversation was out the door 20 years ago. So I think the movement towards positive engagement is happening, but you've got to surround the executives at the top with boards of people and shareholders who understand ethical priorities. And of course, we've often just abandoned it to the people who get the metrics on the spreadsheet. It's got to be about the people who help to make decisions and who help the decision makers make decisions.
Thank you so much. I wanted this to continue, and I'm mindful of your time. You've got a 1:15.
Yes, so brilliant.
That was amazing.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
was expecting so much. Thank you,
Is that
Costas.
okay?
Guys, I mean, that's just so cool.
I could have spoken to you for another hour. There we go. But you're right. Some of